First and foremost, our first interview, as I mentioned before we went to the break, we'll be speaking to Baha. He's coming to us from Bethlehem. Baha Bilo, he's a Bethlehem-based activist and educator. Just to chat to us briefly about Jabalia and the state of Jabalia and what Jabalia looked like before this siege by Israeli occupying forces. Assalamu alaikum, Baha. Again, pleasure to talk to you, even though it's during very, very difficult times. Appreciate you joining us today.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
First and foremost, we are out here in South Africa. The focus is firmly on our elections. And unfortunately, that could leave us to some extent, losing a bit of focus on what's currently happening in Palestine that we've been focused on for such a long time, and that a lot of South Africans, even our government, has invested so much time and energy in. But we've gotten sidetracked a bit. If you can just remind us and our listeners about what's currently happening in what has been happening for the past 20 days of that invasion by the Israeli occupying forces.
First of all, thank you. And the genocide has been going on for 283 days. I don't expect people around the world to be able to pay attention to an ongoing massacre and ongoing genocide for 283 days. And you guys have elections, so you have to deal with your day-to-day life. You mentioned Jabalia. Jabalia was left into rubble. It's a community, a city, and a large refugees camp that account to nearly 120,000 people and residents. And Israel have been bombing the place as well as the rest of Gaza, just turning people's homes into rubble, murdering as many people as they can get away with. For nearly 20 days only within that neighborhood or that community, the state of Israel made sure that no hospitals are left, no homes are left standing. Many of the civilians who live there have already escaped for their lives, whether to the south in Rafah or towards the sea, as far away as what they think would be a safe space. So it's another televised massacre that left few hundred, almost 100 people a day are murdered by the state of Israel. The focus was mostly on Jabalia. But at the same time, the Israelis used an international community was 100% focused on giving warnings to Israel not to invade Rafah. So if you are not invading Rafah, it's okay to go on with murdering people in Jabalia or in other parts of Gaza. Not one spot in the Gaza Strip is safe. And right now, the Israelis managed to murder people only 4 hours ago, there were another 19 people that were murdered by Israeli criminals in Rafah. Bombardment never stopped in Rafah. In a way, now we can easily say that the entire Palestinian population in the Gaza Strip is subject to Israeli brutality completely without any way out. The state of Israel occupied the Rafah crossing, where there were very, very, very limited access to humanitarian aid and very limited passage and access to people. Right now, everyone is blocked. There's no access to humanitarian aid. The largest UN agency or humanitarian agency in Gaza is dysfunctioning. You are talking about the 283rd day of genocide that have been televised before your eyes, and it seems like every time international community puts some pressure on Israel not to do things, the Israeli criminals take it as a daring thing. Don't go into Rafah, so they burned people alive in Rafah. They kill civilians, so they practice murdering civilians, and they give a free pass for their snipers to start using Palestinian bodies as legitimate targets. So whatever international community tells Israel not to do, the Israeli criminals take that as a daring challenge.